Next on Worcester News tonight, the city is seeing an increase in chronic homelessness in the last year. How a new task force is responding. Plus, crews in Northbridge respond to a brush fire this afternoon. How firefighters say the flames got started. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Anna Botari. Worcester's seen a near 50% increase in chronic homelessness in the last year. It's a growing issue in the city, and City Manager Edward Augustus's Housing First Task Force is looking to put a roof over everyone's head. But the problem is there aren't enough roofs. Our Cam Jandro joins us now live with the details. Cam?
Anna, in the last 3 years, chronic homelessness in the city has gone from 40 people to 60 and now sits just below 100. And members of this new task force feel that a lack of affordable housing is to blame.
Chronic homelessness in Worcester is an ongoing problem. As of June, the city identified nearly 100 people who have been on the streets for a year or are experiencing homelessness for at least the fourth time.
There's a lack of affordable housing for people, of very low income, which is like 30% of the federal poverty level or below.
The city manager's Housing First Task Force is looking to reach functional zero in chronic homelessness. Worcester accomplished it in 2011.
So our goal is to be able to estimate what that is it 10 a year, so that we can be anticipating them and having units ready and put people in as quickly as possible.
The Central Massachusetts Housing Alliance reports the state is the 6th most expensive in the country to live in. Worcester, too, has seen a jump in property values and also welcomed 200-plus luxury apartments downtown this year.
I don't see how any of us who are in warm beds in warm houses in the winter can live with that.
Executive Director Grace Carmark says the city now needs to focus on creating living spaces for the less fortunate.
Economic development is very important to the community, but we can't do it in a vacuum. So the city needs to look at all the tools in their toolbox.
The 28-person task force has drafted a list of recommendations for the city. Housing is a top priority.
That's one of the recommendations, of course, is to build 103 units in the next 18 months. That's a tall order.
Now, you can see the draft of recommendations on the city's website. The task force will have a finalized list of recommendations for the city manager next month. Anna?
Thanks, Cam. The city of Worcester honoring World War I veterans in a special way. Wednesday, they broke ground on a new memorial. It'll feature metal cylinders with 382 engraved nameplates of veterans who died during the war. The city contributes more than $1.2 million to the project, and a WPI professor got on board as well, creating the design. The idea for the World War I Memorial Grove renovation project began after President of the Green Hill Park Coalition wanted to restore the existing program.
I just feel very strongly that if someone goes and gives their life, for me, that's how I feel about it. They gave their lives for my grandfathers and grandmothers and my father and mother. I think they need to be recognized and remembered.
The project, a collaboration between the city, the Green Hill Park Coalition, WPI, Worcester Tech, and the Worcester Tree Initiative, is set to be unveiled on Veterans Day. We're learning new details tonight about a fire at the town brush dump in Northbridge earlier this evening. According to Northbridge Fire Chief David White, a man was dropping off brush and says he either hit the gas or missed the brake, and the car ended up in the brush pile, causing the brush to catch fire. Chief White says the current weather was a factor in the fire spreading.
Because it's been so dry as of late, once the car caught fire and spread into the brush pile, it started to burn down deep. It's pretty much contained to the area we see in back of us. It's just burning deep.
Fire crews brought in an excavator and were able to pull apart the brush and knock down the fire. A 20-year-old Worcester woman is killed Tuesday night. Police say she was struck by an SUV on Grafton Street. According to Worcester Police, Gabriella Lowell was unconscious in the roadway when officers arrived. The crash happened around 9:30 Tuesday night near the Roosevelt Elementary School. She was taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. The driver did remain on scene. The cause of the crash is under investigation. Police are searching for suspects tonight after disturbing incidents in both Hubbardston and Gardner. Young girls told police a man tried to lure them into a van, and now law enforcement want to make sure people are aware and vigilant. Our Brittany Schaefer has more.
I know what to do in these sort of situations, but it is still really scary.
Communities in central Massachusetts are on alert Wednesday after several reports of a suspicious man approaching young girls.
Two daughters were waiting for the bus, and a gentleman in a white van wearing a hat and glasses was filming them or taking pictures of them with his camera.
This report coming in after Gardner police say two young girls were approached by a man in a white van Tuesday who then told them to get in the van and offered candy. Hubbardston Police Sergeant Ryan Kuchar says a third incident was just reported today.
We've also had reports of a gentleman with Einstein-like hair in a black sedan, and he was talking to a 14-year-old girl that was jogging and asking her questions about where she lives and things like that, making her uncomfortable.
Kuchar says the departments are working together with little information, but say the incidents could be connected.
It's definitely possible that it's the same person. The one in the black sedan, we don't know. You know, it could be if he's using a different vehicle, or it could be a different person. So.
For teens like Cameron the Tulip, it has them thinking twice about walking home from school.
I usually walk here to get my little brother, but I just asked to be picked up and if me and him could get a ride back home, because just with the whole situation, it doesn't feel right to just be walking home.
She says the incidents were big talk at the school.
They put it over the announcements at school to kind of like warn everyone to be more careful, and everyone's just kind of scared about it.
Kuchar says in these situations, staying away from the vehicles, getting away and reporting what happened is important.
We haven't had any reports of anything like this in quite a while, so yeah, it's a little alarming. We just, we want the public to be safe.
Police in both towns are asking residents to be alert and to report anything suspicious. They're also asking anyone with any information on these incidents to call police. Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Calling all artists, the city is looking to use the redesign of Main Street as an opportunity to incorporate public art. The $11 million Main Street reconstruction plan will include widening sidewalks, adding bike lanes and crosswalks, as well as benches and streetlights. The city's looking for local artists to turn functional new additions into art.
You'll be able to see, maybe a bench that's made out of recycled material. It's not just going to be the same old thing that you see anywhere. It's going to be something unique and something interesting and something engaging, which I think is part of what shows off Worcester as a creative city, as a city that has a lot of talent and a lot of creativity.
The deadline for submission by artists is Friday, July 13th at 10 a.m. A group fighting to save a historic church in Worcester is making one last attempt to salvage the building. The Save Notre Dame Alliance has filed a motion in Worcester Superior Court in hopes to delay demolition of the structure. Our Chandler Walsh has the story.
Construction workers on scene of the former Notre Dame des Canadiens church Wednesday. Some of the building's windows have even been removed.
We are days away from demolition.
The Save Notre Dame Alliance has spent months trying to save the church. Member Barbara Haller says they've unsuccessfully tried to get help from the building's owner, Hanover Insurance, the city manager, mayor, and city councilors. Now, 13 members are making one more effort.
And so we've gone to court.
They filed a civil action lawsuit in Worcester Superior Court and say demolition is a violation of state regulations. Haller says the church is listed on the state's inventory of historic and archaeological assets, and Hanover never filed the required notice with the state.
The state has regulations that say if you are taking down or doing substantially altering a building of historic importance, you have to go through the State Historic Commission.
Worcester residents walking by the fenced-off church have mixed feelings.
I still think they should keep it, but if the conditions are that bad, then they should take it down.
I feel like we would lose a piece of our history.
Longtime Worcester resident Angelo Padine says he's impressed with the Alliance's efforts.
I definitely feel for the Worcester residents that are coming together, that are putting, these big companies in their place as well, because we have rights as well.
Meanwhile, Haller says they're hoping a judge requires Hanover to go through the historic review to slow the demo and give the Alliance more time.
To try to find, the hero that we're looking for that will come in and save this important structure.
That was our Chandler Walsh reporting. The Worcester Regional Airport receiving a $1 million grant for maintenance and further expansion. Wednesday, Congressman Jim McGovern announced the Federal Aviation Administration is awarding the money to the airport. The grant will fund rehabilitation of more than 7,000 square yards of existing apron pavement at the airport. According to McGovern, the pavement has reached the end of its useful life. 2 liquor stores in Worcester have been acquired in a multi-million-dollar deal. Austin Liquors on Park Ave and Gold Star Boulevard have been sold. According to the Telegram, groups led by a liquor store operator and his brother-in-law have acquired the stores for $6.4 million. The new owners plan to keep the Austin Liquors name and its staff at both stores. The store will hold a celebration on June 30th.